Hi guys, this is Anshul, and in this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the adapter pattern in C++. Um, Now, the adapter pattern is usually used for extending the classes, one of your existing classes, and add the auxiliary functionalities which can, help that specific class to be more useful. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use the includes, which are IOStream, and the other include is vector, and I'm gonna use boost algorithm string.hvb, and we will be using the split functionality and the toLower functionality from this class. So here is a new class. Let's call it class string, and it will have a private member variable. Let's call that, it will be a string, and let's just call it as s, and we will have public member functions. So first let's have our constructor, which takes in a const string by reference. Okay, and we initialize our private member variable with that. And now let's have our uh, the toLower function. So this toLower function is going to return a lowercase string object, which is the new object that I have defined over here. So it takes in a string, or maybe in this case we don't even have to pass it a string. So I will simply, because we already have stored the string in our private member variable. Okay, so we call it as toLower, and this will make a local copy of our string. So let's call the string as lower, okay, lowercase, for example, and we will call boost to lower function, and we'll pass in our input, which is going to be toLower, and then so the input is going to be a writable range, and the second one is going to be a start local. So it will take in the s, and it will convert it into a lower uh, function. So essentially in this case, I will also need to initialize my local variable with my string. So that's the string, and to this we pass in the lowercase. Okay, so this will create a lower case string, and then we will pass this back to the caller. So this creates a new object. Now in C++, we can simply create a new object by opening the curly braces and passing the object back like this. Okay, so this will create an object of type string and return it to the caller. Now the second function that we want to create is the boost split. So this is another extension that will be provided by this string class, and let's call this one as this will return a vector of strings. Okay, and we will call this as split, and this one will split the string which is present in our string class. Okay, so So we'll use the existing string, which is s, and split it. And it can, yeah, we can actually pass it a delimiter. So let's call this delimiter const start string, pass it by reference, call this as a delimiter. And by default, we will set its value to space. Okay. And upon receiving this delimiter, we will have, let's say, a local vector. I'll call this as SS, okay? And we will use the boost split function over here. And this will accept a sequence. So as you can see, it accepts a sequence. So I'll give it the sequence, which is going to be our result. And the second parameter that it is going to expect is an input. So, and it takes it by a universal reference. And the third one is a predicate. And then, there is a compress mode type, which I will speak about in a bit. So let's pass the first variable, which is our vector. The second one is going to be the input, which is our string. In this case, it is s. And the next one is going to be the delimiter that we need to use for this. So this is our predicate. So let's use boost is any off, and then we will pass in the delimiter to this. So which means any of the values which match the delimiter, we will be operating on that delimiter. So we'll be splitting based on this value. Okay, so this can be a comma, this can be a space. Now, by default, it is set to a space. Okay, now the last variable is the compression mode. Now, this it helps in terms of the removal of the space or commas. And what it does is if you have consecutive spaces or commas in a string, it will remove all of those spaces in at the same time. Okay, so we'll use this. Otherwise, what will happen is if you do not use this token. So let me actually write it down first before. And this is compress token compress on. So there are two options. We have token compress off and token compress on. Now, if you use token compress off, it means it will only remove one of these spaces or one of the delimiters. But if you use token compress on, which is what we are going to use, it will remove all these spaces or whichever delimiter that you pass in. Okay, so this will do that job. And then we return SS. Okay, so this is our string class, and let's write a main function over here. And we'll create an object of type string, call it str. Okay, and we will initialize this by, let's say, hello world. Okay, and now that we have this, we need to get a vector of let's say, for this specific example, we will get the output as a lowercase string, and which is split as well at the same time. So I will have auto, and this will be let me just use s in this case, and I will say str. Okay, so this is actually going to be our vector, and I will call s dot to lower, right? Now this to lower is going to return another object of type string. So this object is going to be initialized by a lowercase variable. And now on this, I'm going to call split. Okay, and that's it. And now that we have this, and one more thing that I would like to do is, make sure that, we have a console here because we are not really modifying any of the variables inside. Okay, so that's that. And now we can print whatever is there inside our string. So let's say auto reference and s in str. Let's not say s because I already have it. These are going to be tokens. So it's a tokens in string. And I will print these out. So I have, let's say, a left arrow and then these token. So I will just call it as token because it is not tokens. And a closing brace and 3D double colon and L. Okay, and a char so that we don't get out of our console and return 0. Okay, so this is the adapter. Now, before I run this, just some background. Many people may not really know about the boost split function. So by creating an adapter, what you're trying to do is that you use the existing class and you're extending it. So this way, what you can do is you can call functions like this, which is much more intuitive as compared to using boost split or to lower. So so this is much more intuitive as compared to using anything else. And that's what the adapter pattern helps us to do. So let's execute our program now. And it's building. And there you go. So you have these strings separated into hello world. And this is exactly what we wanted to achieve. So I hope this helped you in terms of understanding what the adapter pattern can do. Uh, Essentially, you can have other types of object and see if you want to extend their functionality and then have your own classes and extend the functionality of those specific classes. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video on adapter pattern, and I will see you again with other patterns in C++. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.